Indeed. And greetings upon you. Yes, you. Yes, you who just got into this chat room. Yes, you, beloved and a holy friend. Thank you for joining me. Shannon, thank you, Siobhan. Fancy seeing yous here. Who'd have guessed? What a coincidence. We happen to be here, and here you are with us. Hey, Kate, how cool is it to see you? I've missed you, my friend. Hey, you see, even Toast Malone's good morning, bud. Dude, I've been missing you as well. Thank you, friends, for finding yourself here with me today, for joining in this space. Whew, today's topic is inspired by Ryan, once again. Like, Ryan has been inspiring, these topics a while now. But his inspiration came from his teacher, Mark, and basically the gist of the understanding, the gist of the topic we want to discuss today is that body, this fleshy thing, does not need spiritual experience at all. In fact, it's mind that wants spiritual experience. And I'll get into it. The information I received from my day that kind of resonates with that understanding. But just feeling into that, realizing that a spiritual experience, spirituality in and of itself, is not something that is essential to your survival, right? Like, you can go your entire life without having a single spiritual experience, and you will live your entire life. But that is not necessarily a bad thing, nor is it a good thing. It just is. You seem like a fun guy. Thank you, wrongdoer. I appreciate your love, friend. I try to be. I try to be fun. Sometimes I, can seem like I have a stick up my ass, as we all can. Sometimes you know, I don't. Both sides of that same infinity as well. We'll read something we're saying. We'll take a moment to really kind of like, address or be with ourselves in breath and in body and mind. And then we'll, discuss, we'll explore a little bit of this topic for today. The way of the heart begins with a recognition that you are already loved by the only source that matters. And so, your greatest joy and fulfillment is in wholly and deliberately accepting responsibility for the whole of creation. For you are always creating what you desire. How's that? How's that? How's that as like a 1-2 punch for today's topic as well, in this context of the body doesn't need a spiritual experience. You cannot separate yourself from spirit. Body is filled with spirit nonetheless, but it doesn't require you to ever even notice that spirit within it for it to be. And spirit realized body in order to realize body, to experience what it's like to be a human being. And it's amazing. It's supposed to be this way. And we create such, like rules. Oh man, like all of this information is already flowing to me. I want to discuss it. But we create these rules, and then as soon as we set a rule, and there are, eyes outside of ourselves, then we create these senses of guilt of like, oh, now I've done something wrong. When in fact, you cannot do something wrong. Stop it. Stop believing it. And I do it to myself. Mm. Hermes Blur, where I create this narrative of like, oh yeah, now you're, and I mean, it's like more in the sense of what it is we experience, right? Like creating a narrative that how it is you're feeling in this moment is wrong because you're feeling one way instead of another. You're thinking a certain set of ideas, a certain set of feelings instead of another. Goodness. Okay. Okay. And just we got the topic in our minds. We can let it simmer, melt a little bit as we just address our bodies just a little bit. Spend some time with ourselves, taking some deep breaths. Lisa, it's nice to see you, friend. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for breathing with us. Taking some deep breaths throughout this whole, sequence, or I should get a better word for it. I guess it could be a sequence, but I feel guide. Maybe guide would be the better word. Throughout this whole guided experience, try and focus as much on your breath as possible. And if you forget, about your breath, that is completely okay as well. If you kind of like run into a tangent, experience a fractal of understanding as we're discussing the stuff we'll be discussing, and then I'll try and bring you back to your breath. And even if it's for a moment that you just, oh yeah, I can breathe for myself, coming back to that, referencing your heart, realizing again. Okay? Okay. Okay, so let's start by just breathing, realizing that we are secure. I've been really fascinated with this understanding, or this, I guess you can call it an understanding, that my next breath is already waiting for me, right? Like we breathe, and you can exhale without any anxiety. You can exhale without any worry. You can exhale without any sense of lack, because you know that as soon as that exhale completely leaves your body, the next breath is there waiting for you. How securing is that? Huh? How solid do you feel in just knowing that your next breath is already there waiting for you? In the same way, we can recognize where it is we're sitting right now, where it is we're standing right now, where it is we find ourselves in space and time, that we could manage to be here, that we could manage to have this space, that we can feel into a sense of safety, understanding, representation of the infinity. And that instead of being in our chaotic infinities, we get to have this moment of quiet silence, quiet non silence. In the same way that your breath is being supported, your heart is also beating, constantly supporting the very essence, the very life force that is you. Without your heart beating, you don't extract oxygen molecules from the air that is you're breathing. So, in the same way, your heart beats, pumping blood, knowing fully that there is going to be more blood to be pumped, and doesn't lament, doesn't complain, it's just ceaselessly pulsing love through your being. What a blessing. Thank you, heart. It's from this place of security that we can start to just think about our emotional responses to our external worlds, our emotional responses to our spiritual understanding of this world, and our emotional responses to our physical understanding of this world. How does it feel to be body without any spirituality? Just explore what that might mean to you, what that might feel to you, Just body, as in physicality, monkey, without any inkling of intelligence, without any inkling of understanding or complex idea, just body. And then to address the other side of that infinity, think about what it would be like to be just spirit, just disembodiment. Being so vast, being so knowing, being so aware that body is a limitation. What does that feel like? What does that mean to you? Is it something you feel you can access? Or is it something you feel is completely impossible to even imagine? No matter what it is you feel, just recognize that you're feeling. That's what's important. In this moment, you are feeling. Recognize just what a creative being you are to be able to feel so complexly. Like, I have this genuine understanding in this moment that even though I might be feeling something, I might be seeing these things I'm bringing to you, friends, guiding you with in a certain way, each and every single one of you gets to, in a very beautifully creative way, experience a reality for yourself. Get to experience a set of feelings for yourself. Get to experience a whole different fractal of reality for yourself. realizing the beauty of your creativity, recognizing yourself as the miracle of the cosmos, the actual miracle of the cosmos, to be, to feel, to create. What do you want to create? What do you want to feel? It is when we want things, when we have desires, that we have this ability. And I believe desire comes from the previous space within us that we referenced. Our creative, our emotional, our feeling side is the thing that desires. And without desire, how is it you're going to direct your creative power? How is it, hey, okay, it's nice to see you. How is it you will feel into this moment? How is it you'll realize anything if you don't desire for it to be realized? Realizing that your desires are not something to be feared, something to be hated, or something to be looked down upon, but it's something that can serve you. The point is not to get rid of your desires, but to master them. Realizing that you can will that as well. Realizing that you can will anything, that you can will everything, that you have willed everything. And within the everything, you ask yourself why. Ask yourself how long it has taken for you to get here. And think of it in this perspective of spirit consolidating, melting into body. You. That you as spirit will to be who you are right now and what that means. It's when we ask ourselves these questions that it's important for us to remember and to try and take into consideration just the amount of complexity that there is within each and every single other being on this planet, that we're all experiencing these beautiful fractal realities, and that within all of us there is that fundamental spirit. The mind that we think we are is something we share. The will to be who we are is something that we've chosen, so that we may experience what that chosen experience might hold. It is when we take into consideration other people's choices, other people's connection with spirit and connection with body, that we allow ourselves to be compassionate and realizing that we share this body that is planet Earth, that we share this body that is humanity, that we share this body that is community, and that we are a collective. All rivers leading to the same ocean. The infinite ocean fractaling into all rivers. Realizing that if you poison your river or someone else's, you are just poisoning the infinite ocean from which you originated in the first place. That you cannot separate yourself and that you can only love yourself. Into the external side of the infinity and into this internal side of the infinity. It's easier to love when we can communicate that love, when that love can be communicated to us. And I want us to, in this moment, just think about how it is we listen, how it is we are receptive to other people's opinions, other people's expectations, other people's interpretations, and how that influences our fractals. Not only the fractal of our experience in this moment, not only the fractal of our decision making, but also the fractal of our reactions. How something is said, and then that something being said causes us to try and say something. To in this moment ask for the insight and the wisdom to, instead of being only in a state of reactiveness, to be able to respond from a place of loving compassion, to build our conversations, our communications on loving compassion. I want us all to feel into this understanding of intuition, this understanding of insight, this understanding of being able to see things beyond what your eyes show you, being able to feel things beyond what emotions describe, being able to understand things beyond what logic allows, and not forcing ourselves to, or judging ourselves for not being able to, but instead just being present with what it might feel like. What it might feel like to be disembodied spirit. And from that place of disembodied spirit, to be peering into and through you as reality. It's with this insight that we recognize our connection to the whole, our ceaseless connection to the whole, that we are being empowered, that we are being influenced, that we are being energized by the energy of the whole, by the energy of oneness. And to lean into that oneness with this understanding that you could have never been separate. In this realization of your non separation, experiencing the sensation of just melting into it. And instead of fearing that you might disappear, realizing that you can melt more and more and more and more, and there is yet more to be melted ceaselessly into infinity. You. You! You! What have you done? How is this even possible? How is this even possible? Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I trip myself out, like, ceaselessly. Just as soon as we recognize that which we are, as soon as we just spend a moment breathing properly into these spaces, goodness. Mm. Ermias Plur. Ermias meaning God will uplift the universe, will uplift source, will uplift you, will uplift peace, love, unity, and respect. Thank you, friends, for sharing your peace, your love, your unity, and respect with me at this moment. I appreciate it. Glad to see you, friends. Hey, hey again, man, and okay. David Ganger. Hey, Melt. Only have a minute, but I did not want to pass on a chance to wish you light and joy. I saw like I actually saw like you posted one as well, but I saw like this candle with a little flame, and instead of it just being like a normal little like concentric light circles, there was this half crescent moon above it that was like sending vibes out, dude, sending love, sending light to the universe. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Your wisdom always finds a way to astound me, and your enunciation really imparts each meaning with layers. Mononoke, it's you. I'm making sounds. And you're the one that's like, information, yes. That's the trip. That is the actual trip. Like the reason you're feeling something, the reason there is a response being generated is not because of me, it's because of you. You are the one who holds that divine power. And I cannot thank you enough for being willing to share it with me. like this genuine thanking you for creating space in your consciousness for me. Like you have this conscious experience, this infinite conscious experience that is ceaseless, that just goes, and you can pet animals, and you can have conversations, and you can eat delicious meals, and you can, love someone, and you can go bungee jumping and ride motorcycles. And yet, instead of doing all of those things at the same time right now, you have taken a moment of silence. And even if it's like literally a second of like, huh, and then gone again, more than enough, infinitely enough. So thank you. Thank you for you, friend, genuinely. Thank you, Shannon, as well. I appreciate you, friend, so much. Good morning. Even if it affected only your mental state of being directly affects your physical. So of course, spirituality affects your physical. I agree, a aim shot. I agree completely, friend. That is what this whole space is about. I'm 100% in the camp of encouraging you to be a spiritual being, but in the same breath, I'm not going to tell you that being a spiritual being is what's required of you, right? Because as soon as I do that, let me share some of the understanding that I felt I was allowed by the universe today. And if it wasn't for Ryan being the other side of the infinity of that representation, I feel I wouldn't have been able to properly articulate or properly consolidate this understanding. So during my meditation today, I've been having zazen. That's what it's called. Zazen is when you meditate with open eyes. And I've been meditating with open eyes for the last few weeks exclusively. Like I for some reason, I have a hard time meditating with my eyes closed these last few days. So I'm doing these zazen meditations, and during them, I try to look at life as much as I can. And today, Pippi was just like playing. She had this little chew toy in her face, and she was like chewing on it, and it was like a whole vibe watching her being so enthusiastically joyous about chewing a chew toy. And I was like, a part of me, I'm not envious. What's the word I'm looking for? Admiring, right? I was admiring her ability to experience such joy just being able to chew a chew toy. And I was like, oh, wow. And then as she's chewing this chew toy, she has this ring, like through her mouth, going around her little head and going back into her mouth. And she's like looking through this little chew toy, and she sees an ant. And she, with the chew toy still in her mouth, like jumps at the little ant, right? Trying to play with it or whatever. And I was imagining myself, in her perspective, admiring her perspective. And I was picturing myself as now the larger entity, almost playfully jumping at her, and playing with her a little bit. And because we both have this relationship with one another, because we both have this understanding of the roles that we play, I could imagine us playing if I had this playful jump towards her, right? And there would be this exchange that we could have with one another. But her perspective, and by extension, the perspective that the ant might be having might be completely opposite. Where if I was like playfully jumping at her, it would be an instantly playful experience. Where if she was jumping at the ant, instantly the ant's whole world is colliding. Like, it's the end of the world, save me! Like just running for his life, like trying to get away. Meanwhile, Pippi just wants to play with him. And I was imagining again, like, if that is the case and I can witness that, is there yet a larger experiencer, Earth as a whole, looking at me, playfully jumping at me in different ways, in tsunamis or tornadoes or hurricanes or lack of electricity or lack of decent infrastructure, etc., 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 jumping out at me and creating an experience that I might be combative against or be scared of, when in fact it is just a playful experience, right? Like I had that whole kind of trip watching Pippi. And then I like shared this understanding. Well, technically, Ryan shared a message from his teacher that went basically, as we said in the start of the stream, that the body doesn't need a spiritual experience. And instantly that infinity collapsed in me of like, oh, that is what I was experiencing. I was experiencing body, spirit, living through body as body, not caring about spirituality, right? Like if Pippi killed that ant, she wouldn't have a sense of guilt or a sense of separation inside of herself. She would just be, oh, guess the ant is dead. You know, that would be her experience. Like, oh, well, I stepped on this ant and now he's no longer moving. And then she would move on with her life. She would, go on chewing her chew toy. She would go on eating her pellets. And I'm not encouraging you to like live in that completely bodily way, but I could see that understanding, that representation within her where she doesn't have guilt. She doesn't have any separation mentality whatsoever because she realizes that in this moment she is. And that is what I want to bring to you friends today, is that realization of your isness, right? Regardless of where you are in your spiritual progress right now, that you have that isness in you right now. And it's this genuine understanding as well that came to me of like what guilt is in our current understanding of our rule systems, right? Like if a dog, for example, is playful with something, right? Like that maybe okay, I have an idea. You have a nice stick, right? And this didn't happen to me. I'm just making an example, but you have a nice stick that you have spent hours carving, and it like and then as you're carving this stick, like you bring out the grains and it looks beautiful, and you can see these little fractal representations of the grain, and you're like, this is a nice stick. And then you happen to leave your stick on the couch, and your dog jumps onto the couch, and your dog is also like, yes, see, this is a nice stick. And then your dog proceeds to chew on the stick because that is in your dog's world, in your dog's reality, in the infinity that your dog is experiencing, what it does. Within Unity, it plays. So it plays with the stick, inadvertently chewing it full of holes, maybe chewing the bits, the ends of it, into complete flutters. And you see the stick, and instantly you have this sense of, oh, how dare you? And you say this to your dog, like, how dare you, dog? Look at what you've done to my stick. And then instantly, now that dog has a sense of guilt. Now that dog has a sense of, oh, I did something wrong. Oh, I did something I wasn't supposed to do. But in your dog's reality, there is no wrongdoing. There is no separation from the infinity, and you creating that narrative that that is you separating. And as soon as that separation occurs, that guilt feeling arises. And I was like, yes. As that feeling came to me, that understanding came to me, it just made me notice so many things that have happened to me in my life. Like the Christian upbringing that I received has a lot of spiritual elements to it, but a lot of it is this pompousness, like, you're supposed to be such and such, and if you don't do these things, then you're a bad Christian, and these people are so and so, and no, 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 like these guilt stories of like, oh, these are the rules, and if you break one of these rules, then suddenly you're not that spiritual being, so feel guilty. And that little thing in our heads, that's what I want to melt away, I want to pluck out. So aim shot, I agree 100%. Like, again, spirituality is for the mind. It is not something your body needs. If you live a spiritual life and you see yourself as a spiritual being, I believe it creates this understanding of inside of yourself that you're not a victim. You are not at a loss in this world. And when you feel that way, your body responds to that feeling because your body is a feeling organ, right? This whole thing feels ceaselessly, and your mind interprets that feeling. And how your mind interprets that feeling is what your body takes as rule, as fact, literally. So if you interpret your reality as, oh, I'm just small little me and the whole world is against me, and oh, I'll never make anything of myself, and I guess I'll just die eventually, and then that'll be it, and nobody will stories, then that's going to be your reality. It's going to be true. And if you tell yourself the opposite of like, I'm an abundant being, I'm infinite, I'm spirit living through body, I have done this million, trillion, billion times before, and now I get to do it again. And I get to do it as lovingly, as joyfully, as lightly as possible. And if I continue doing that, then I'm going to have a loving, joyous, light experience in doing so. So I agree completely, friend. You know, it's to me, at least in my life, it's something that's of utmost importance to live a life of spirituality. But I don't think we should apply rules. Like every single one of us experience spirituality as individuals. We experience our connection to infinity infinitely. And each and every single one of our perspectives are necessary and valuable. But creating this narrative that if you're not feeling this way, if you're not doing these things, if you're not experiencing moksha, complete unity with oneness, then you are wrong, or you are bad, or you are evil. That that is what we're addressing today. Thank you, friend. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Monk. Joining us as well. Thank you for joining us, Bante. It's so nice to have you here. I hope you're still here. I don't know if you would be, but thank you for the dude. I appreciate it, man. Hey, good. I got Reddit back. I'm home. Good morning, fam. Hey, yes. Is Reddit actually working at the offices again, Jovan? Please do let me know. We have Dan the Man and Untitled. Nice to see you as well. Saying, good morning, brother. Glad you let your hair down. The staunch business look ain't your thing. Thank you, Fred. Like I just had to the whole stream, when I had my hair slicked back, was just like selling the Patreon over and over again. Okay, I've tried selling it this way. How about? Thank you, dude. We can be both. We can be all of it. But I do like my hair loose. Hey, Isaac, again by the bed. So nice to have you here. Kira Burb joining us as well. Jumping Jumanji, even. So much love to you, friends. Thank you for joining me. I had such a similar night. Rough sleep, woke up clammy and tired. I felt like I've been hung over for 2 days, and I turned around this morning. Thanks to you, friends, and Precious Jasmine. Today is good. I just need my subconscious to get it together. I think this tea break is just a little rough on me. It's been a bit brutal, huh, Isaac? Yes, you dude. I don't think I've struggled this much ever. Weirdly enough, I think this is the most difficult it's ever been for me, and I don't know why. You know, I actually don't know why, and I love not knowing. I love to hate not knowing. Thank you, dude. We're growing, brother bear. A nice way to see darkness. If you're feeling darkness right now, think of yourself as a seed. Like a seed has to be planted in the ground, covered in dirt. Otherwise, it doesn't germinate. It doesn't grow into the beautiful tree it can be. So if you're experiencing darkness right now, just see yourself as a seed that has been buried, and you get to keep growing. I love you, friend, so much. Proud of you, dear friend. Today is better for me because of reading this, and today is better for me because of reading Isaac's message, and then it's even better because of your message of reading Isaac's message. So it's like, yes, the fractal that is happiness is just complexifying. Thank you, Limpeth. It's nice to have you here again, friend. How are you doing? Thank you. You allowed me to lean on you, and I am forever grateful. This shoulder is always open. Thank you so much for being there, for supporting one another, friends, holding hands. Ooh, an open eye meditation is great. I like to do it without contacts, so it's blurry. Look into my visual field like an expansive array of color and light, and then halfway, I like to close my eyes and realize my visual field is still there. So I really like that you mentioned the fact that you don't wear your contacts, because what I do, I mean, I have, at least I think I have 20/20 vision. Instead of not wearing contacts, I just defocus, right? So instead of hyper focusing like in an analytical way, and I do both, we can do both. That's the cool thing about being a ceaseless creator. You can look at a blade of grass and you can be like, oh, that blade of grass has all of these lignin, right? Probably. Lignin cells, and it has all of these molecules, and I have all of these little structures that makes it up, and it has this fractal nature of how it grows. I can analyze and cut this thing into smaller and smaller pieces, down to the atomic level, And then at the same time, I can have that defocused view and just realize the everything. And I like the defocus to the point where you just look straight ahead instead of focusing your eyes. It makes it blurry in a way, causing things to almost like melt into itself. Like you realize there is absolutely no separation whatsoever, and things become like mosaic. Is that the right word? Mosaic, or just straight up trippy. And I'm happy that you do the same, Isaac. Thank you for sharing that, friend. Who needs tears? Hello to you. Thank you for joining us, my friend. It's so nice to have you here. Yesterday it was rough for me too. Not the greatest sleep. I felt weirdly disappointed in myself. Today feels so much different. Nice to hear your day is also better today. Friends, ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows. And the crazy thing is, we're feeling this way today, right? And I'm not trying to be like, but we're feeling this way today, and we might even feel even better tomorrow, and even better the day after that, and then we might be like, I'm feeling less better than I did yesterday's, and now I'm feeling even worse the day after that, and we're going to go through that infinite cycle as well. And just being aware enough that that's okay, being aware enough to not judge ourselves, being aware enough to not create this narrative of this is the way it should be, and if it's not this way, then it's wrong, because there's no such thing. There's no such thing as wrong. Can you or chat recommend any books or videos or podcasts to keep developing my spirituality? Limp, if a book that I would like to recommend for you is actually Stoic Wisdom. I don't know if it's spirituality necessarily, but go and read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I feel that is one of the coolest resources for spiritual understanding in the context of being a human for myself. Like, it's cool, dude. Like 100%. If you want some good reads, go and read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's like literally 2,000 years old. And that dude knew some shit, yo. Like that, just like the stuff that he understood and, intuited, it just shows me that we haven't changed that much at all. Like we have the gap between imagination and creation is closer and smaller than it's ever been, and yet the thing that we are has not changed. We have just realized the ability to become. We have realized the ability to become. Let me just say that. Wow, so glad you're talking about this. I found that focusing too much on any aspect of our consciousness, if we think too much in the spiritual, we might be experiencing less of the bodily experience. There we go, Isaac. There we go, dude. Yes, exactly, brother babe. I love steak. Me too, dude. I also like steak, actually. I don't even use utensils. I just rip the steak apart with my teeth. Okay, with my teeth. Because I have those I have those canine teeth. Me too. But I don't. I like using a knife and fork. Not for any particular reason, other than it's easier. Like sure your teeth work, but it's easier to eat with a knife and fork. Hello, puppy. Come here, my leafy leafy. Come. 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 What's that? No? You wanna be your own dog? Okay. But thank you for joining us, Mr. Barbarian. It's about making decisions, using all of our perspective, drawing from these aspects of ourselves when needed. If we spend our lives contemplating how we should exist, we will die before we live. I like that so much, Isaac. You are so in tune, Brother Bear. Thank you for joining us, dude. For sharing your truth, your perspective, your wisdom, dude. I can't thank you enough. Morning, folks! Hope you're able to take good care of yourselves today. I saw a upside down question mark, but it was like on a so like it was on a plane that was running that way in my field of vision, and then there was this upside down question mark kind of like on that plane, and I was like, the hell is that? And then it shifted upwards and I could see the upside down question mark. Take care of yourselves, Fred, please. No matter what that means, take care of yourself. If you need to have a moment of, peace, if you need to spend a moment just breathing, if you need a moment to say your own name, if you need a moment to look at yourself in the mirror, if you need a moment to be, you can take care of yourselves in more way than you can ever imagine. It can be a question mark sometimes, but I know you'll you'll have it. You'll do it. Thank you, friends. I've used How to Transform Your Life out of the book A Blissful Journey by Kelsang Gyatso. I don't identify as Buddhist, but this has been amazing for me. Thank you for the suggestion, friend. The stories in the Bible are so annoying. Freemasons write the Bible. Thank you. I mean the stories of the Bible, are stories. Like the stories, so if you want to think about it in the context of how humans understand things, stories is the best way. Like if you can tell someone a story and within that story you can share an understanding, you're going to have a higher success rate of actually transmitting information than if you just share the understanding for its base attributes, right? So that is kind of the premise of the Bible. It wasn't necessarily, I don't believe at least, necessarily the actual words of God, but it was humans trying to translate the intuition that we have on our hearts into a story that can be then told to someone else, and then in telling that story, information gets transferred. That's what the Bible is about, friend. I feel we have moved past in a lot of ways, some of the stuff that the Bible expected of us. And the Bible was written in an age that is very much not the age we're living in right now. So the Bible stories in that way can be annoying and kind of out of touch. But I think it has value for a lot of people, Barbarian. Thank you for joining us nonetheless. Thank you for another great message, Mel. Thank you, Aunt V, for allowing yourself this loving message. Cody Wood, I felt this way about the Bible for years. Great way of putting it into words, though. Cody, thank you, friend, for having that understanding and feeling as well. It's not about, again, demonizing one side or another. It's just about being aware enough to realize that we are not separate from that either. That the same people who wrote the Bible is you. And you have that understanding in you as well. And you don't need the Bible to gain that understanding. But gaining understanding outside of yourself can show you what's inside of you, right? Like when it comes to mythology, for example, these ideas of archetypes, these ideas of, oh, I am, a Taurus, oh, or I am, you know, the jester, oh, I am Lord Shiva. All of these stories, all of these understandings, all of these reputations are but lies we tell ourselves to reveal truths about ourselves. They're just understandings, they're just feelings that we all have intrinsically. And then we try to communicate it in a way that humans will understand it, that humans can relate with. But how do you explain to someone that you are infinite soul, that you are infinite spirit, that you are the actual experiencer? And we all are. And we're like, I'm not gonna try and explain that. Instead, I'm just gonna be Melt. Melt more. Yeah, this is me. This little cute little package. You say two words and then you've encapsulated what I am. Fortunately, when I say melt more, it just shows up as an infinity symbol in my mind. So I'm okay with it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can I can swallow this label. Thank you, Fred, for not allowing yourself to be labeled, for being that which you are, Cody. I appreciate you so much, man. Thanks, friend. It's been frustrating. Normally, sleep feels like a cleanse, and every day is fresh. The past 3 mornings, it's like I wake up right away to my incessant thoughts, like I blinked instead of slept. Ugh, dude. So, I don't know if you're doing this, Isaac, but the way that I've been dealing with that feeling, and I've had it as well, is just to not touch my phone. Like I've been leaving my phone on my bedstand for as long as I can. Like that's what I'm doing these days, where I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna fucking touch my foot." And then I, go to the bathroom and I drink some water and I go outside and I embrace the sun and I go and sit and meditate and breathe for a little bit into myself. I say my own name, and I recognize who I am and who I want to be and what who I am and what I want to be represents for myself and for the rest of the infinity. And then I allow myself the incessant thoughts again. I mean, maybe they never stopped. Maybe they were just there. Maybe they were even there while you were sleeping. But I get what you're saying, bro. Brother Bear. Thank you for joining us. I've had no dreams whatsoever, even without weed. So very strange. I've also haven't had any dreams, dude. And I was like, okay, sick. Now I'm gonna start having these amazing dreams, and then just nothing, like complete blank. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. I mean, and it's expectation again. I think it's expectation at the most fundamental level. But you're saying that you can't know these things. I'm not. I didn't. What did I say? I knew, friend. I'm sharing understanding that I feel. You must accept that your human mind cannot always conceive the answers. You are completely right, barbarian. Having accepted that doesn't stop me from trying, and that's the beauty of being a human being, is that we are relentlessly adaptive. It's not really the word I wanted to use. Relentlessly pursuing, also not the right word. Relentlessly adventurous. Maybe that's the right one, right? And within that adventure, this adventure that I've at least, taken onto myself is that of infinity. Of like, what does infinity mean? Can I experience infinity? Can I explore infinity? How do I do that? And this is how I found I can do that, friend. And thank you for joining us, doing the same. I appreciate you too, friend. Thank you so much, Cody. So much love to you, the bear. Genuinely. Had no dreams. I do believe that spirituality is just a way for us to try and understand the things that don't make physical sense. It's about the unequivocal truth of love and compassion. It's not worth to be hateful, it's just painful. By adding a specific narrative to our own spirituality, we can make it our own. But in that instant, we might narrow our view. As soon as you choose a certain understanding, as soon as you basically create a single pointed focus inside of your mind, you at the same time lose all of the rest of the infinity. So yeah, I agree completely. And that's why I feel, at least in my life, the best way to see spirituality, to see yourself, is in the context of infinity. And even if you realize, if even if you become completely self-realized within infinity, there will still be more self-realization left. So don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself whatsoever, friend. You are quite something. Speaking of Patreon, can't wait to see today's artwork. Thank you on B. I do, friends. I have a Patreon, and you can support me. And you're like, who the hell does Mel think he is? Just give him money for nothing? No. Puts on salesman hat. No, not just give me money for nothing. You get daily works of art. You like pretty things? I like pretty things. I like pretty things so much that I've taken it onto myself to make pretty things every single day. And a part of the pretty things I make is this. So the stuff that I wear on a day-to-day basis, you're like, what the hell, Mel? It's a little bit much, don't you think? Yeah, maybe a little little bit much. But then in this muchness, I take this muchness, and then on a sequence of 1 to 9, I fold it into a flower, and then I get to share that flower as one side of the infinity to you, as like the feminine part of the masculine feminine duality, creating life, creating beauty for the masculine nature to be conscious of, to be experiencing of. So I get to create a flower, and I get to share it with you, friends, seeing a flower that has never been and that never will be. And yet it is. And it will be. So thank you. Thank you, Anvi, for giving me opportunity to promote. Shout out to Patreon. You friends have been ridiculously supportive, and it's boggling my mind. It's boggling my mind, and it's boggling the minds of friends I have. Like, you friends don't even realize your support of me has in turn supported and encouraged people close to me. So, like my brother's friend Matthew, he's studying to be an engineer, and he hates it. He absolutely despises what he has to do, and he's like already tripping out about becoming an engineer and then having to do what he hates doing into infinity. And with this understanding, with this feeling, he has communicated how I've inspired him to try and start a content creation career of his own, to like, he has a good camera and stuff. So he wants to take beautiful photos and he wants to share his works of art with the world. And me being supported by you showed him that support is possible. So you friends are influencing people who you don't even know. The fuck? Yeah, that's how powerful you are. So thank you, friends. Thank you so much just for being here. Like that is happening even if you don't support me. That's the trip as well. So thank you. Imagine that is frustrating, but it's so great that you're in tune to this change and aware of it. It's the only way, friend. Thank you for being aware as well. Barbarian says there is no such thing as wrong. Then there's no such thing as right. There is only experience, friend. I do agree. There is you as the infinite experiencer. Whew. It's when we learned how to words, when we learn how to rules, when we learn how to create narratives around what it is we want and what it is we don't want, that we created a sense of separation from what is. There is no good or bad. There is only you within the infinity. And you get to be a representation of the infinity that is beautiful and loving and light. Or you can choose to be a representation of the infinity that is evil and hurtful and, destructive. But you're both. You are both. You just get to choose which side you want to be. And it's only, I believe, at least, only when you recognize that you are both do you gain the full power of your wholeness, of your infinity. Boom! That's why it's not about telling people that love is right. It's about relating to each other and realizing that we all desire that compassion. It doesn't make it right, it just means that we've decided to focus on breeding less pain. Like, it's so crazy how, even though Isaac sent that message 9 minutes ago, it is like 100% in synchronicity with what I was just talking about. I love you to bits, dude. We have mission section saying, I took a few days off of work in order to clean my house and the items that I'm really just clean my house of items, and I'm really just tired and not in the mood slash motivated. I find I need self care, and while purging items would be wonderful, maybe that doesn't matter, and I need to just be. So, mission section, like a bunch of stuff came to my mind as soon as I was like reading your message. One was in a way like of 100% encouragement of you getting rid, cleaning your house of items, because I believe that the more things you collect, the more material possessions you keep piling onto yourself, the more weighed down you feel. Like it's this genuine understanding that we only gain for some reason when it's too late, that possessions don't really make us happy. In fact, possessions can in turn make us unhappy because with the amount of possessions we have this sense of scarcity, we have this sense of being scared to lose these possessions, and it creates a sense of attachment that we can't get away from. So, like my mind in this moment, instead of encouraging you to just be as I usually would, I want to encourage you to actually do the thing you wanted to do, friend, to clean out all of the things that you find don't serve you, to go throughout your house and be like, have I used this thing in like the last 6 months? Maybe once, maybe once. Do I need it? Do I really need it? And then to just like purge things out of your environment, it makes you feel lighter on a physical level. It makes you feel lighter. And if you want to think of it as all of the stuff that you've attached to yourself, even though it's a mental attachment, it has a physical representation. And then you can think of these physical representations, even though they're attached to a mental kind of like little fractal in your head, you are dragging them with you. So as soon as you let those things go, you become lighter. I hope that is the message that you wanted, friend. I love and appreciate you. Take care of yourself, friend. Thank you. Because I have been stuck on a loop of this thought, what's the point of everything? Of what's the point of everything? Of it's really nothing. Lol, okay, good point. I feel you, friend. It's nothing and everything. But you get to be the everything in the nothing. That's the point. Like the point is to live. The point of life is to live. And it's so simple. It's very simple. And yet we overcomplicated it because we like to solve problems. It's a part of our of our natures to try and solve problems. We notice that solving problems makes us more comfortable. But we've solved so many of our problems. We've basically solved all of our problems that we are now trying to solve the very problem of being alive in and of itself when it isn't even a problem to begin with. I get you, barbarian. I feel you, friend. Thank you. It can be so tough. I find that spirituality has been incredible for me, but in moments of but in moments detrimental, since it causes me to contemplate sometimes to the point of near insanity. Oh yes. That only happens sometimes? Isaac, you're lucky. The space is just one aspect of ourselves. It's important to remember that we're not meant to know because it doesn't really matter why we're here. We're here, so let's love it. We're here to be here. That's the point, you know. It doesn't really matter. Other than that, is that you're here. Instead of being anywhere else, you are here now. And just rejoicing in that fact. Exactly. Just overthinking. But I like the point you made to have compassion. It's the way, friend. Thank you for listening and for being open. I appreciate that so much. Oh, I'd like to update you, friends. I got my medical card. Sick, Isaac. Thanks to motivation from the beautiful Kate. But medical is literally the biggest joke I've ever experienced. You walk into the doctor's office. I think it was a Key and Peele like skit even, where he was like walks into the doctor's office. He's like, I want a medical cannabis card, and he's like, I have AIDS. He's like, don't you have like issues sleeping or glaucoma or anxiety? Nope. Just goes for the worst possible. Thank you, brother Ben. It is a joke, but I appreciate you laughing with it at least. What do you mean? What's your experience like? Is anyone here into numerology? We're big into numerology here, Barbarian. To give you an idea, the number that it says is watching right now. So as soon as I open chat, it has like a static numbers. The amount of people that was watching in that moment when I clicked on chat shows, and it's like 42 people watching. So in my mind, I'm like, yes, the meaning of the universe, life, and everything. This moment, 42. So I'm big into new numerology as well. But I'm big into it from this context of just seeing it as the universe encouraging you, not as like this is. I'm going to base all of my life decisions on this number because I received this number. I can't do anything, and I do it intentionally. For example, if I transfer currency, for example, I do it in synchronistic numbers. So recently, I got to send my mom some of the money that I made from, the Patreon, and I sent her 2,222 rand. 1 rand or $1 is about 15 rands. So I got to transfer this wealth to her in a synchronistic way, and she's not even remotely into numerology. But in my mind, because I'm choosing to tune myself into it, I'm manifesting abundance. So that is my take on it, friend. Compassion is always good. I had to sit down with myself one day and I'm trying to find the things that are unchanging in my life. I realize no matter what, every situation I've approached with compassion is beneficial, and that is all I need to know. Love is true, huh? That is it, Isaac. That's what I've after melting everything else away, that is what, stayed. Loving compassion. That love. Compassion is love on the most fundamental level as well. Like, you cannot be compassionate if you don't have love in yourself. Love is true. Like, when everything else melts away, love remains true. And I appreciate you, Brother Bay, for having that feeling and understanding in you. This is it. Thank you. Thank you, Barbarian. It's you, friend. Isaac, son of fire. He is, right, Jovan? So, literally, the only official document I need was the pic of my ID. I listed some things I'd like to feel better. A doctor jumped on a video call literally for 42 seconds, and I was approved. So, like, let me just, I don't need to, but I want to. So, like on the YouTube, I'm going to show you, friends. You see that? 42. And then Isaac with the 42 message as well. Like that. I don't believe in numerology, but then we have synchronicities like that where it's just like, oh yeah, here, have another 42. How about it? He literally for 42 seconds, and I was approved. He literally popped on, was like, "You're good," and I mean, they make money, dude. So I don't really think he cares whatsoever. Sup, yo, Mr. Ryzen. It's nice to see you again, friend. Thank you for joining us. Wow, some pretty awesome people in the stream, right, Barbarian? And now, you, you as an awesome person in this stream. We appreciate you, friend. And I love that it's easy so people can have access. But I have friends that have spent time in jail for the same substances back home, so it makes me kind of angry in a weird way. Oh, yes. Dude, what makes me angry is the fact that there are people making hundreds of millions of dollars right now, while at the same time there are people in jail for trying to make a living, right? Like, people don't start selling weed because like, this is how I'm going to become a multimillionaire. People sell weed because it's an accessible way to generate an income for them to eat food and pay for their apartment, take care of their children and their families. And then they get arrested for having for possession of cannabis, for example. And then they have to spend jail, disrupting their ability to find work after they get out of jail, disrupting their family ties, ruining relationships with their children. And then at the same time, there are people making millions selling the very thing that this person got arrested for. Like, every single person who got arrested for possession or for any, cannabis charge needs to be released at this point. Like, it's absolutely atrocious. Oh, you got it. Congrats. Glad you were able to get that taken care of. One less thing to worry about and open up a whole new world. It is pretty cool. Like, it is kind of cool, the fact that we can now smoke weed legally. Like, there's no more of that stigma. At least the stigma is melting away slowly but surely, and it's helping. Like, the medical cards are helping it a little bit. My wallet didn't love it, but I'm glad I don't have to deal with wandering into strangers' home to rummage for my weed. Yeah, dude. Like that. That is also something that shouldn't even be remotely acceptable. Like, individuals that just happen to have like a uniform and a badge, just having the power to enter your home and then to rummage through your things because they suspect something of you. How is that even let's not get triggered. Stay positive. Yes. Zenning out, please. And tropicals, creams, oils. Oh my. Lamau, yes, it's a huge plus. Save some of your valuable time. Exactly. Mr. Ryzen, I need to smoke more bud. I have no idea what is going on. Mr. Ryzen, you don't need to have any idea what's going on, friend. Even if you don't know what's going on, something is still going on. And that's the beauty of what we're discussing today. Can you pick a side thought, chaos or peace? Aside though, chaos or peace. Weirdly enough, I think of it as chaos or order, and I am chaos more than I'm order, interestingly enough. But because I identify with the chaos side of the infinity, I recognize that I have to be peaceful, I have to be orderly. Otherwise, the chaos will overtake everything in my life and I'll end up destroying everything. So again, both, friend. You don't have to pick. There is duality, sure, but the duality is an infinity. They cannot be separated. That's crazy. I definitely have a different experience with all, and that is perfect, my friend. It needs to be that way. Thank you, Who Needs Tears. Corey's experience with medical card before legalization was similar. The secretary call was like, "Be ready for the doctor." Doctor comes in for 1 minute and says you're approved for X amount. Just want them monies, of course. Dark or light, one can't exist without the other. There we go, friend. They allow one another. They accentuate. They create depth within one another, the contrast. Phone doctors are the way to go. They don't care. It's just quick money for them, literally. Like, imagine being able to make literally $1 for 42 seconds of work. I would be working all day, making $60 an hour. That's good money, yo. That's pretty good money. So 100% they're making good money, quick money for them. Really? What was yours? If you don't mind me asking, my mind was boggled. Literally, in less than an hour, I'm able to purchase something that puts people in jail, all based on my hearsay to a stranger on the phone. Dude, like that is just, this bullshit of the order that we have created for ourselves. Oh, yeah, now because you have this piece of laminated paper, now you can do thing. Oh, thank you, government. I'm sorry. I go to the doctor who works predominantly with kids who get seizures. She's amazing and so knowledgeable. Been seeing her for almost a decade for my Rex. I don't know what Rex are, but doesn't really matter. Thank you for saying that. Like genuinely, the strain Charlotte's Web is a CBD strain, and it was created for a girl who got seizures. So her family didn't want her to ingest any THC because it's a psychoactive compound, but CBD helped her seizures. So they developed a whole plant, and that plant is now in turn helping, I don't know how many, let's say millions because it feels good, millions of individuals who have seizures. Like we have these medicines, and it's amazing that people have access to them now. I think that professionals that support weed realize how silly putting more walls to access it is. So they just want to make that shmoney and lets people smoke. Yeah, that's what it is, dude. That's what it is right now. She wrote the book Cannabis is Medicine. I started getting my recreational, I'm guessing, because cannabis helps my migraines. But also, I just love cannabis too. I too do love cannabis. Like it's something that I feel has served me so much in my life and has been a tool for my spiritual development in a lot of ways as well. I believe it can be a tool for spiritual development if you use it that way. But anything that can be used as a tool can transition into a crutch. And it's about allowing yourself to walk without your tools so that you may not develop it as a crutch, right? To take breaks occasionally. It's a joke, crimes for the plant medicine. It's all a profit thing. Oh, yes, for sure. Thank you so much for the encouragement. You completely stumbled upon how the items make me feel. Just your words have helped me to shift my mindset and to get up and get rid of these things I do not need. I'm so grateful to you, friend. Much love. Showing up every day as an opportunity for serendipity. Like mission section, I'm gonna take a screenshot of that, dude. Thank you. Thank you for the love you share, friend. Like, Siobhan, if you're here, would you be willing to screenshot that and post it on the Discord heart melt comments? If any of you friends would be willing to, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sounds like a very cool doctor. I love you, friend, and I appreciate you. Like, it's gonna serve you, I guarantee, mission. Having my recreational license is convenient too because I can buy more than 1 ounce at a time and possess more than 1 ounce. An ounce is 28 grams. It's a decent amount of weed. Anyone want to hang out on a call for a few today? We have our normal call this Thursday, but my lunch break is an hour and a half, and I'd be happy to chat a bit. I think I have a class today, dude. Otherwise, I would have loved to. I do have to dance for you friends as well, so I think I'm gonna read these comments. Gonna try and maybe speedrun them a little bit, and then we're gonna dance. Been growing for 10 seasons. Yeah, dude. If you've been growing for that long, that's actually crazy. I don't think I've only grown for like 4 seasons at this point. Properly for like 4 seasons at this point. I want to do that, dude. When you start, I'm happy to give tips. Please do. Like you're gonna love it. Genuinely, yin and yang. There we go. I've reached out. I had some tips here and there, but maybe I'll go ahead and try. I'll be saving seeds for I've been saving seeds for a long time, dude. And now you're gonna have like the opportunity to see what genetics come out of that as well. Please do give it a go. Though I'll admit my first season was rough. Yeah, it's definitely a learning process. It definitely is a learning process. Isaac, yes, but can't today. Need to start my work day soon. Thank you, Nanshi, for seeing our friend and sending him a message nonetheless. The days of the weed dealer. I'm in Washington, so that hasn't been a thing for a while, lol. Yeah, the weed dealers are now reputable businesses. It's almost time. Not warm enough yet to grow on my porch, and not a big enough bucket to buy the indoor equipment. Like, you want a relatively big bucket, like 50 gallons at least. I lost my career job. What the hell? I lost my career job. SO lost, my significant other lost his and was thrown into jail. Oh goodness. Yo, Jovan. Like, I remember you sharing a little bit of this with me, but I was like tripping out for a second. So, like, hear this story that Jovan went through. Jovan says, I lost my career job. My significant other lost his and was thrown into jail with $1,000 bond that I had to pay for having a grinder with just kiff in it, like the little powder at the bottom of it. It's silly. In hindsight, I turned my left right side up. Prior, I had been a workaholic machine. It was the beginning of my detachment from the physical world. I sure love that Mary Jane lady. How beautiful, nonetheless, you know. Like, I remember Jovan sharing that with me, and I was like in a state of shock when she initially did. Getting arrested for having a grinder, and it had like a little bit of powdery dust at the bottom of it, and it's like, yeah, now you go to jail because you have this grinder. It's like, what the hell's like you? I imagine us like as in like 100 years as this super advanced civilization, and then having conversations about stuff like that, like Jovan telling her great grandkids, like, when grandmammy was a 20 something something. What, granny? You were 20 something something at one point? Yeah. Well, what? They arrested me for having a grinder in my car. Fuck. Why didn't you sue them? Oh, they could do it legally. They would beat people senselessly, after doing stuff like this if we try to resist. Like, I'm just seeing this like absolute shock in their eyes of like, how is that even a thing? How is that possible? Like, the words you're saying do not make any sense. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Assholes. Where I live, it's cheaper to buy weed the old-fashioned way rather than from a dispensary, but probably not saying anything new. Yeah, I like the black market is going to be a little bit cheaper. Apology that happened. I'm so glad that it was good though. Luckily, more and more places are ceasing that silly activity. In our life, I do believe that we'll see most countries, except for China, of course. China and Russia are going to stay. Probably, unless there's a shift in power, whoever is controlling the population, because they know very well, what a enlightened population will do. So they're like, nope. It's lovely how a seemingly shitty thing really turned your perspective around. The dark and the light right there. Within the darkness, Jovan got to be the light. No problem, friend. I'm just hanging out in the Discord for a bit on my lunch, feeling low key today, and chats are always welcome. We love and appreciate you. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, at first dispensaries were uber expensive, but now there's one on every corner, and they're all trying to get business, and prices have dropped tremendously. That's amazing. That's the one nice thing about the capitalist society we're living in, is that competition does help the consumer, but it has to be proper competition. Like the insulin world, for example, like there are three companies in America that produce insulin, and they raise their prices in unison. Like, the prices haven't dropped once since they started selling it. Not once. Not even a single time. That is like okay. I'll lose my mind. How can you let people die for money? Okay. Tea time! I have a cup of tea with y'all. Barbarian, thank you so much for joining us in tea time. Barbarian say, I'm just looking for my glasses really hard. For a second, I realized they're on my face. I think it's tea time. If you plan on growing, you should start sprouting your seeds now, though. Yeah, like, you want them to grow for as long as possible. Like, even though it might be too cold for them outside right now, you want them to start growing. You can even like grow them inside. Weed infused meals. Eating your weed is better, friend. I do agree. I have a weed delivery store you can buy. That's pretty cool, actually. Lol, I don't know if I ever not have that feeling of I gotta wander an extra mile into the woods to spark this joint just in case. Dude, that's like that was the first thing that I was thinking about as well when I mentioned the fact that it's being destigmatized because that like anxiety of us like what if somebody sees me? What if I what if they call the cops and like now we can just kind of like let all of that bullshit go. Finally. Welcome to my life. I literally wearing my glasses panicked. I can't find my glasses. Okay, I do that today. Actually, for shits and giggles, I have some seeds that are really old. We'll have a shot. So, like something that I'll suggest, but you don't have to do this. It's just my craziness, of where I do it. When I plant my seeds, I put them in my mouth first. Like I'll let them in my like and for a while actually. Like I'll walk around with them for a while, and then I believe that the DNA that my mucus contains, somehow gets into the inside of that seed and it informs the seed about something. And then it's still going to be a marijuana seed, and it won't, be that influenced. But there is some information transfer in my mind. And then planting the seeds in a little, container for it to grow. Just a little bit of extra intention. I do that today. Okay, giggles. Some seeds are really old. We'll give it a shot. I have plenty of empty pots, thanks to Chanel, destroyer of all that is green. Someone fuels my struggle. We do, Barbarian. Like, we are genuinely a unity friend. Like, we experience so many things together. Absolutely. At this point in the past, I have let cannabis be a crutch and a security blanket. Something I definitely had to work through. Me too. Constantly, sometimes even. Who needs tears? Yeah, it takes a long time for them to sprout, and it's ready to plant and pot. Longer you have, the better. They do okay inside by a window for a little while. Even just a lamp with a grow light, even just a lamp, like it doesn't even have to be a grow light, while they're young is helpful until they can get outside. Recommendations, sorry. Okay, thank you so much. Who needs tears? And that's good advice. I agree completely, Eden. Like you want your cannabis plant to like shoot the most roots it can, spend the most energy it can, like actually developing all of the infrastructure on which your buds will grow. I'm so excited. Helio! Thank you for joining us, friend. It's nice to have you here. Next is to sneak into a local farm, steal cow shit, and pile it into my outside closet. I'm just imagining like Isaac, sneaking onto a farm and then stealing, and he doesn't want to make multiple trips, so he's just like scooping cow shit like onto his clothes and into his arms and like running with this cow shit and jumping into the car and cow shit goes flying everywhere. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Isaac. And it's like so viscerally disturbing, but I love it still. Like that's new. I feel that for sure. I'm so excited for you to start trying. Absolutely. Gotta sing Helio. Gotta sing your username every time I see you pop up. The older seed is longer they take to sprout. Really? I didn't even know that. Who needs tears? Corey has a very funny story. He got pulled over with a grinder with like 0.1, yeah, 0.01 gram, literally dust. The cop was such a jerk. He had to go to court about it. They sentenced him to community service, had to scrape gum off the sidewalk. Meanwhile, I've been busted by cops with a half an ounce while it was illegal. He dramatically dumped it out and swooshed it in the ground with his boot and made me watch, then gave a lecture, asked what we wanted to be when we grew up. Uh, we were we were adults already, and he did not get the answer he expected, an artist, a musician, etc. He gave up mid tangent because he realized getting busted for weed when you want to be an artist isn't the end of the world. Oh no, dude. That's beautiful actually. Thank you for being that thank you for being that expression of the infinity and for showing him that yeah, you can try this masculine parade, but no. No. Is the stream lagging for anyone else? I hope not, Lempif. But I'm sorry that it's for you, dude. Peach what? That's hilarious, right? Good morning, zombies. Thank you for joining us, friend. It's nice to have you here again, Brother Bear. Weirdly enough, I was thinking about you before you came into chat. That's kind of odd. It is ridiculous. Similar thing happened to me. My friend and I were just chilling at the park. A cop rolled up and started messing with my friend. He's black, and of course, in the South, my friend had to just put up with it. Trigger meter. Ooh. Breathe. Ooh. How do you survive? Like, what's your source of income? Snoo calculations. I have a Patreon, And even though I'm not necessarily earning enough to make a living, I'm earning $321 a month right now. It is the start. I'm creating daily works of art that, and I want to be an artist as well. You know, I consider myself an artist. Yes, manifested. And then a part of my artistic pursuit, you know, hopefully I'll have people that actually enjoy my art enough to be able to support me, and then in that way I can make a living. But I know that it's not realistic for me to accept or to expect that that is going to be the way it's going to be. So I have decided that I'll become a instructor, a yoga teacher as well, and I'm getting my certification at the moment, friend. 18th of May, I should have my certificate. Thank you for asking, friend, for caring about my well-being. You weren't even smoking, but his car did smell uh, a good. So he made us get out of the car and handcuffed him. He told the cops exactly where the grinder in the trunk was, and that he hadn't used it all day, dramatically destroying it, of course. Oh my god, this is hilarious, right? Sometimes they're so funny. Like, dude, did you miss breakfast this morning? I just consider it like small dick energy. I'm sorry for being a little bit vulgar. Like, are you that insecure? Like, really? Are you like that insecure that you have to try and practice power over me? Like, dude, please, please, like, sit down. Have a breath. I've never taken angry cop seriously, but that comes from a bit of privileged space, white middle class female. I realize that is not the narrative for everyone, which makes me sick. It is unacceptable. You're right. You're completely right with that, Eden. It's like different infinities, right? And in some people's infinities, seeing a cop literally fills them with fear, and that is unacceptable. Like, you shouldn't be scared of the cops. You see the cops as someone that can help you, someone that's there to serve you, someone that's there to be a protector, not someone to be feared. Like, that is a fundamental mistake that we've made as humanity already. Thank you, Mel, because that's exactly how I imagined it. I mean, it's probably bring a backpack at least. Yeah. 100% of all bullies from high school becomes cops in our area. And that's the thing. I believe that they should have like perfect, like literally a whole system of trying to weed out which type of individuals have this mentality of like powerlessness, because those are the last type of people you want to give a gun and a badge. Same, Peach, same. I'm excited because shortly I should be receiving some monkeys in the mail. And on top of you receiving monkeys, you'll also receive a thank you stream where I'll dance my heart out for you right now. Oof, big oof. Nice, good luck to you. I've seen you on Reddit like a few times, never really tuned in until today. Was curious how you earn. Thank you, Snoo. Fortunately, I don't attach my personal sense of value with how much monies I earn, you know, and I hope at least I never will, but the world tries to. It's like, oh, how much money do you earn? I'm like, oh, I earn like $300 a month, and they're like, oh, so you're poor? I'm like, yeah, sure, you can say I'm poor. I don't think I'm poor. I feel I'm, you know, extremely wealthy in mind and perspective, but sure, monetarily, I could be. Hey, puppy, ears itching? We're gonna do a dancing stream. Mm. I'll pay Rand for Mel's art brand. Come on down to Melmore's Art Emporium. Thank you, dude. Well, the bub. So this individual, the way she goes, bub. Literally, like when I was like streaming last year, he wanted to fly me out to America to enjoy a Grateful Dead concert with him, but I was, you know, still with this process, busy with this process, and I want to do it every single day. So I couldn't take him up on the offer. But Mr. Bub, do become a Patreon supporter. If you're not already, you might even be already. You get to see daily works of art. You get to see some behind the scenes stuffies as well. And I'm gonna do a dancing stream for you right now. Thanking you friends individually. Scarmelia, it's nice to see you. Melt Empomorium. Melt Empomorium. I like that actually. Thank you, Jovan. So beautiful. I think it's funny though. Like, get busted by someone you knew in high school. Take a breath, Gary. I remember when you got hammered and passed out at a party. Bring it back down to earth. I want you to relax. Just breathe a little bit. Carmelia, it's nice to have you. Moss, so nice to have you, friends, as well. Like, I feel like now I can't leave because I want to, like, I want to restart the stream so I can have like an official attitude of gratitude stream that I'll start on the Reddit as well. Should I keep the YouTube on? I think so. Should I? I should mash. I think so. I love you. Thank you so much for that love, Isaac. Oh, hi. Again, Moss. I'm going to do a dancing stream for you, friends. Shannon. Okay. Okay, I'm going to end this stream, but I'm going to keep this one on. Oh, friends. So many of you loving friends here. I'll start the stream up in a bit here on Arpan again, and it's going to be a dancing stream, like I'll thank you, friends, and then we're going to be dancing our hearts out. I'll see you in a bit. Check you soon, friends. So much love to you. I'm back in a second. With an attitude of gratitude, I say thank you. With an attitude of gratitude, I say thank you to you. Attitude of gratitude. My phone is glitching. Come on, dude. Come on, bro. Yeah, there we go. No. Shannon, are you ready? Are you ready, Shannon? I hope you're ready, Shannon. What is that? Let's play now. Fractal that you created, literally, Shannon. You have manifested this fractal. Shenanigans machine. It's time to boogie. So wishing you could dance at my wedding. Me too. I was trying to figure out if there's a way to. So I was like, Rip Dog, no, she's okay. She's completely okay. I tried a few times already. Love that footwork. I'm so sorry, Fred. Thank you. I'm happy you appreciate it. We're going to listen to the rudest of sandstorms. Isaac, you're making my heart sound extra today. So much love to you, Fred. Thank you for being in this moment with me. More volume? Yes. Nice move. Thank you, Fred. Why not, Fred? Why not? Hey, we can actually dance together, dude. It's gonna be a vibe. Junior, take me. Let's go to my friend, Kev. I'll be in touch.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass
Let's
that like
go.
Stockton. Pass that like Stockton. Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like Stockton. What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like Stockton. Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like Stockton. Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like Stockton. What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that like Stockton.
Alright, stop it. Lavish. Let's dance to Brandon.
El attitude back from LA on the deck of the day, I go back and forth like I play tennis. Yeah, Billboard, still on the Billboard, the number one song in UK. I like it that way, low mileage, good right when I'm college. Call me the baby, no time. I'm a creative and stylist. Send them a dinner. I send it hit like a step. And I just got back from LA on the jet yesterday. I go back and forth like I play tennis. For sure, yeah, Billboard, still on the Billboard, the number one song in UK. I like it that way, low mileage, good right when I'm college. Call me the baby, no time. I'm a creative and stylist. Send them a dinner. I send it hit like a step. And I just got back from
I am Reketh. Sacred Bonding Right. Electron Myth. What an interesting username. Electron Myth. I'm thinking about all of the electrons flowing through all of your synapses, connecting with one another through myelin-seethed dendrites, translating your visual and audible energies, awarenesses into an experience. It's not a myth, and yet it feels like a fantastical story. I am not fluid. I just think I am. Dugga! That grass is brown because you keep dancing over it. The immortal flesh. My immortal flesh. I mean, it's also starting to become winter, which also causes the grass to brown a little bit, but you aren't completely wrong. Wow, Melt. About to do the splits. I can't do the splits, Siobhan. I cannot. Unfortunately, my sister can. And she likes to let me know that even though I'm doing yoga, I still can't do the splits. Electrons, hell yeah! Hell yeah! Freaking Bob, I love you, man. We are incorporating a yoga ball through so much pretty fire. Dude, I'm straight up pouring sweat right now. I'm going to go and get my page of beloved friends. I'll be back in a second. Nani? Okay. So I have a page of all the friends here. I am going to have to close off the YouTube stream. Whew, I'm still out of breath. I love you so much, friends. So lovely to dance with you. Love to you, Shannon. Thank you, friends, so much for joining me on the YouTubes. So I have a